This is literally a sacred area, not just for me, not just for LGBT New Yorkers, but literally for the entire world.
This is a historic location and a touch point for people who are new to the community.
The West Village was kind of that first neighborhood that had the kind of heart of LGBTQ culture.
Especially around Pride, we get an influx of people coming to just learn about the history and to experience gay life in New York City.
It's important to kind of remember where we've come from, how much further we have to go as a community.
I've been marching with various organizations since I came out at 15.
It's Freddie Perez's third year marching in Pride with New York's LGBT Center.
I can't really find words to describe it. I think just knowing that a bunch of people are going to be crowding the streets of New York City, I'm just ready to step off marching. I hope that LGBTQ youth who are currently struggling with their identity get a feeling that they are not alone, that there's many individuals who are like us, and there's many individuals who are allies and support who we are.
The Pride Parade is one of my favorite moments of the entire year because of the palpable energy that you feel, and this year it's going to be that on steroids because of Stonewall 50.
50 years before rainbow flags adorned the front of the Stonewall Inn, police raids were common at the West Village gay bar. Law enforcement saw homosexuality as a crime and would regularly harass and arrest customers. One night, a group of patrons changed the tide of the gay rights movement by fighting back.
What you saw that fateful night in June of 1969 was a real uprising and saying we're sick of being oppressed, we're sick of police brutality.
Buoyed by the momentum, the community organized the Christopher Street Liberation Day March on the first anniversary of the riots.
Was kind of a result of commemorating that really important moment for our community.
Through the years, the march evolved, encompassing growing diversity and highlighting calls to action. Now called the Pride March, the annual event draws millions from across the world. Its path ends on 7th Avenue. 7th Avenue is like an artery that runs through locations and landmarks rich with LGBTQ history. The part we're focusing on sits in the West Village. It's long been seen as an artistic, bohemian, and progressive area.
From this spot that we're at, just east of 7th Avenue on Christopher Street, all the way to when you hit the West Side Highway to Huntsville Park, it has been a gathering spot for LGBT youth, and it even is still today.
I often feel like we're so fortunate to be located right in the nexus of all of this LGBT history.
Glenda Testone heads the LGBT Center, a West Village fixture since 1983.
You've got the Stonewall Inn a couple of blocks away. You have St. Vincent's right next door to the center. That was really an epicenter around the AIDS epidemic.
St. Vincent's was the only hospital in the Greenwich Village area. Anytime we needed anything, you came here, and we never turned anybody away.
The Catholic hospital served the area for 160 years before closing its doors in 2010. Referred to as Ground Zero of the AIDS epidemic, St. Vincent's housed the first and largest AIDS ward on the East Coast.
Nobody was prepared for it, I mean, the AIDS crisis.
The sisters and the nuns who ran this hospital were amazing, amazing women who were dedicated to helping people. And St. Vincent's was literally the epicenter of treatment in the entire world.
We were having these terribly sick young men, no matter what the doctors did, couldn't save them. Nobody could understand why, because they had never seen anything quite like this. Everybody was upset in the hospital because they kept saying, why are all these young men dying?
The disease created fear for some, with parents of nursing students warning their sons and daughters not to treat AIDS patients. But that sentiment was not welcome in the halls of St. Vincent's.
We said to them, if they want to be nurses, they don't pick and choose who they will care for. And if you don't want them assigned to these patients who badly need care, then you're free to take them out of the school. We gave in not 1 inch.
Across the street from where St. Vincent's once stood, New York City's AIDS Memorial remembers those who lost their lives to the disease and honors the activists and caregivers who fought for a cure and faced it head on. In the early years of the AIDS epidemic, it became clear that the virus was primarily impacting gay men, a community that already had to fight for social acceptance, now had to fight for survival.
The original vision of the center in 1983 was really, we need a place to gather and build community and fight AIDS. ACT UP, the AIDS activist group, originally sort of formed here and continues to meet here to this day. The Gay Liberation Front and the Gay Activist Alliance were community groups that were really fighting for people to really pay attention to what was going on with AIDS at the time.
Thanks to the work of activist groups like these and to the medical community, HIV is no longer the death sentence it once was. Antiretroviral drugs have enabled those with the virus to live longer lives, and medicines like PEP and PrEP have helped prevent transmission. The center continues to offer support to people living with HIV and AIDS, but has also evolved to support LGBTQ New Yorkers in new ways.
The biggest role that a center can play is to be flexible and change our programming based on the needs of the community. So when we were founded in the 80s, it was very much about AIDS. Now we have members of our community like transgender and gender nonconforming individuals that need unique support. LGBT immigrants face a very unique situation.
The center also offers recovery programs for people like Freddie Perez, who have dealt with substance abuse and dependence.
I felt comfortable speaking about it with other young, gay, or LGBT youth.
People say, well, I could go to that anywhere, but I come to the center because I'm sitting with my community.
Now 2 years, clean and sober, Freddie is dedicated to helping other LGBTQ youth in their journeys to recovery.
It gives me some sort of reward. Not like a physical reward, but like just a state of being. Like it enlightens me, it motivates me to stay sober as well.
Do you still consider the West Village, this particular area, the center of LGBTQ life in New York City?
I'm gonna shockingly say no, because I think that LGBT people are everywhere in the city, and this may have been the place where people could come, but our job as a community center is to really make sure that this entire city is safe for LGBT people.
Still, the historical significance of 7th Avenue and the West Village continue to resonate today.
In times of deep sadness, whether it was after the Pulse Massacre in Orlando, or in times of deep celebration when the Supreme Court said that marriage equality should exist in all 50 states, people gather here spontaneously.
From this day forward, please let it be marriage. Just marriage. No adjectives.
We're finally gonna get married.
That spirit of celebration is especially present at the annual Pride March.
4.5 million people here, and that's totally ridiculous, but also totally amazing, because you think historically how 50 years ago none of this was even possible, and now we're all here just celebrating with everyone else.
It's just such a heartwarming example of a city embracing diversity and embracing the queer community.
Doesn't matter where you're from, what color you are, what religion, you're family.
It's a crazy workout, and it's a moment of unabashed expression. As Lady Gaga said, "Baby, I was born this way," and that is what Pride is all about.
After 50 years fighting for our rights, finally we feel like we are being free.
What Pride has always done a really great job at is fostering a space where the resistance and the celebratory can coexist into one single experience.
In the parade, you're a little overwhelmed. The two spots where you really feel it are, one, the AIDS Memorial right here, which just opened up a few years ago, and number two at Stonewall, both somberness and celebration of what came before, but also that spirit that lives on.